Yeah, Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Kareem. Hello, audience. Welcome to East Delta University webinar series. This is your host, Muhammad Rakibul Kabir, Associate Professor and Associate Dean, School of Business at East Delta University, along with Ms. Raunaq Afroz, Lecturer at School of Business, East Delta University. This is the 15th session of the series, and today we're going to bring something, that word $1 billion. Yes, we are going to talk about the new normal with COVID-19. Today, we have some talented and renowned speakers who will share their ideas about the new normal and the way we need to react with this new normal. Ms. Afroz is going to introduce them in a while. Before that, let me share an experience of mine from last night. Well, last night after iftar, I was walking through the society road in front of my house as a part of evening walk, along with my wife, my little kid, and the girl who helps us in our household activities. There is a lake and a small garden in front of our house. Surprisingly, a short mango tree in the garden expressed her with pride, having a few mangoes in it. The girl with us all on a sudden went into the garden and picked a mango from the tree. Twinkling my eyes, I asked the girl, what is the reason for that? Why did she do so? You know what she answered? She said, it is normal to pick a mango from the tree as it is there to be picked. Yes, it's normal for her, though it's an unauthorized access for us. Yeah, actually, this is how some abnormal things now might be a new normal with COVID-19 in the coming days. Well, my dear friends, you see, this is a formal event, but right now I'm wearing this Punjabi and a lungi, which you are not seeing right now. Can you imagine in a formal session like this in lungis? Come on, guys. It is the new normal of doing things. My dear friends, we will know more about such new normal from our extraordinary pool of experts today, and Ms. Raunaq is going to introduce them with you. Raunaq, it's over to you. Raunaq, would you please unmute your mic?
Sorry, I forgot to unmute my mic. I'm Raunaq. I'm lecturer of School of Business Administration in East Delta University. Today, we are very fortunate to have these two speakers amongst us, and they have agreed to come for this webinar. We're really happy to have them, and they both are very close to me. I had the opportunity to work with them in Robi in my previous organization. And they're actually two friends who have worked together for 8 years in one company in Robi, and now they're coming together for this webinar. So it's also a catch-up session between the two friends. So without any further delay, let me introduce our first speaker, that is Ms. Afreen Huda. She is director of Reckitt Benckiser of both Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. And she has previously worked in many reputed multinational companies in different leadership roles. In Robi Axiata Limited, Standard Chartered Bank Bangladesh, Unilever Bangladesh, and BRAC NGO. Regarding her educational background, she graduated from Institute of Business Administration, IBA, Dhaka University, and she was also in the first batch of IBA. Afreen Apu is a veteran HR professional who has worked relentlessly to create a great culture and values for all the organizations she has worked for, and her charming personality and her unorthodox personality really puts her above many, right? And now we have the next speaker, who is, again, a very close person to me, achieved many things at a very young age, and I really look up to this person. He's Mr. Melveen Alam, Country Head Resourcing at Standard Chartered Bank, Bangladesh. Prior to this position, he worked in Robi Axiata, HS Enterprise Limited, Probase Solutions Limited in Thailand, and he completed his BBA and Masters in Organizational Development and Change Management from Assumption University, Thailand. He has a certification in executive education, implementing improvement strategies, dynamic work design from MIT Sloan School of Management. Melveen has had a great career, and obviously with his hard work and dedication, he has achieved everything at a very young age. So let's welcome the two speakers to our webinar. And from East Delta University, unfortunately, we wanted to have our founder, vice chairman, Mr. Saidul Numan, but he is not well today and he won't be joining us. But we will have Mr. Shafayat Kabir Chaudhary, the Director of Planning and HR, Director of Network and Placement Cell of East Delta University amongst us. So we will begin the session with a very general question. That is, it is something that all of us we have it in our mind and we don't know what it is. So this is a question that I'm first going to ask our first speaker, Miss Afreen Huda. So Afreen Appu, can you tell us why did we call this webinar the new normal and what does it really mean? So I would really request you to answer this question, keeping in mind that you're working in a manufacturing sector and there's a lot of culture adaptation to this new normal, and what are people feeling, how this new normal is, and what do you think in your perspective?
Okay, thank you, Ronak. And I was overwhelmed with the introduction that you gave. Okay, maybe I'll be stumbling, or stuttering with my words. I'd like to first come from a personal point of view as far as new normal is concerned. Okay, with this COVID-19, I think it has disrupted all of our lives. Okay, lives as we have known it, right? We were so much into, taking things for granted, taking our lifestyles for granted. Okay, and all of a sudden, this tiny microcell comes and it sort of puts everybody on a lockdown, and we don't know life as it used to be. Right? Just imagine going to work and before going to work, stopping at North End, picking up a cup of coffee. And now I think we would not even dare to go near a shop and, pick up something. And even if we're picking up something, we would have gloves on. We would first sanitize the package and then we'll take it. Okay. We are not allowed to be, to express our affection towards, the elderly, members of our families, right? To keep them safe and, to ensure that, we don't jeopardize their health. So there are instances where, where parents live separately and it's been like weeks and months on that we haven't seen them. Probably doing a FaceTime is the new normal. Kids are at a loss as to how they're going to spend this, time in hand and, either doing, their classes are over, which were online classes, more to say. They were giving exams, like for my son, he was giving exams for his his IB first year, and the way that they were doing it was that first he had to write in front of the camera, then he had to scan it and he had to send it over to his teachers. Okay, so life is not as we knew it. Life has changed, and this change is not going to go away easily. Maybe it's here to stay, and the best thing is to embrace. Now it comes to the professional part of it, right? So what has the new normal, or what has the situation, forced us to do? We're working from home, which is not a very common, concept as far as this part of the world is concerned. And that itself has created a disruption in time management, in the way people approach work, in the way people are dedicated to work. This is one aspect of it. The second aspect is that within organizations like ours, where we are blessed to be in a very relevant company and relevant industry right now, because we are working relentlessly to ensure that we pursue healthier lives for our country and our people, respectively. Now, having said that, we have part of our employees working from home and part of our employees working in the fields. So obviously there is this disconnect amongst, people as far as, the emotional balance is concerned. Those who are working in fields, they feel that, they are going out of their way, whereas there are their counter colleagues who are working from home, which does not seem fair. Okay, this is an emotional state that is very precarious in order to ensure organization sustainability. But the fact remains that it is going to be like this, and going forward, even when COVID goes away, since it has proven to, serve its purpose, organizations would readily think how best to, improvise on this whole concept of working from home, or having a combined methodology where there is part of your population going out and part of your population staying from home, and bring about efficiencies in terms of financial efficiencies in time, in line of time management and all. So we don't know life which is coming towards us until and unless we embrace that it's here to stay. So I think Melveen would be able to add, his perspective from a service organization.
Okay, thank you so much, Afreen. That was very insightful and very true. Everything you said, I some of it I experienced myself, and it's so true. Now, Melveen Bhaiya, can I request you to answer the same question as to why we actually, what do we understand by this new normal, and how does it apply to you from coming from a service-based industry?
All right, thanks, Ronak. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I think there were some questions about what the topic was, so I'll just reiterate. The question was, why did Afreen and I think that the topic for this discussion should be the new normal, right? And the reason, like everything Afreen said, there has been a lot of challenges. There has been a lot of good too, right? But the way we live our day-to-day lives, especially the way we work, is going to change. It's not necessarily going to change because all of us are now going to start working from home, right? Working from home in the current situation that we're in is because of the crisis that we're in. But what I feel, this situation has led to us realizing that we can work differently, right? We can, especially being in the service industry, banking is an essential service. We have had brave colleagues who have been going to our branches, who have been given services, etc., and they've all put up a valiant effort, right? But while we've done that, we've also digitized a lot of the existing processes, a lot of the existing items we have. I mean, the services we have, and that has required a lot of change in the way people think. And that is what the new normal, to me, that's what I feel the new normal is. It's going to be a different way of working, whether you're working at home, whether you're working at the office. We are going to have to start thinking digitally, everybody, whether it be how, as a consumer, how do you consume products or services? How do you procure, any service? How do you get products? You have to start thinking digitally. As an organization, we have to think of that digitally, and especially for us as HR people, right? We have to think of how we can engage people digitally, and that is an area which is, I think, very different. Because for me, I have a very interesting relationship with my colleagues, my team members, etc. And Afreen can vouch for that. Ronak, so can you. But what I've realized is this situation requires us to be connected more, requires us to put in effort differently, which maybe we weren't doing before. So those are some of the things about the new normal that we all need to work on. And as HR folks, or as organizations, I think we have been talking about this for a while, but there have been cases where people thought it's not necessary, some thought it's not possible, some thought, okay, it's good to have, but not a must-have, etc. But I think this is really a case study that things will change, things will need to be embraced in a different way. And as HR folks, Afrinapu, me, we need to, with the rest of the fraternity, really work towards that. As educational institutions, you all have to work towards that. My kids, my kid who's 4 years old has been doing classes online for like for 2 months now, and it's interesting. He's singing, dancing, and on a big 42-inch screen. So it's different. Maybe when we were kids we wouldn't even be able to fathom that, but for them it's really easy. And by the end, I mean, by last week he was able to log on his own, and if it got disconnected, he was like, Baba, it's disconnected. So see, even they're adapting, right? So everything is going to change, and that is what I think Afreen Apu and I were getting at when we thought of the times are changing, and the normal is also going to change, right? So I hope that answers why we thought of this topic.
Perfectly. Thank you so much, and absolutely agree with everything that we have to, um, we have to embrace this. We have to adapt this both personally and professionally. Okay, now moving on to Shafait, Shafait sir, can we ask you to answer the same question? Yours would be from a very different perspective. It would be from the educational sector, where what is the new normal is to us, and we have done it very well, alhamdulillah, very well. East Delta University is proud to conduct virtual classes since the very beginning, even before this pandemic started. So can
Right.
we request you to reflect your thoughts on this, the new normal?
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum to everybody. Yeah, basically, this is I will not talk about just about East Delta University and why we are conducting it. This is for everyone, from education point of view, for every education institutions, everyone who are working in the education institutions, students. One thing I have to say this is that acceptance, it's very important, because we are considering this as a disruption, but disruption brings opportunities. And this is not this is, we are saying new normal, but এই নর্মালটা অনেক আগে থেকে এক্সিস্ট করতো, করে। It's nothing, এটা এমন কোনো এটাকে কিভাবে বলবো আমি, এটা এমন কোনো ডিসরাপশন না বাইরের ওয়ার্ল্ড গুলার জন্য, বাইরের ইউনিভার্সিটি গুলার জন্য। ওখানে অলরেডি অনলাইন ক্লাসেস গুলো কন্ডাক্ট হচ্ছে, অনলাইনে অফিস হচ্ছে, হোম অফিসের কনসেপ্ট অনেক আগে থেকে ওয়ার্ল্ড ওয়াইড প্রচলিত আছে। There are practices in many countries, especially in Europe and Americas. So they are doing they are sending their before this COVID, even before this COVID, they used to send their employees, some of their employees, to home. They said, don't come office, because they are saving their electricity utilities. And there is a concept going on, a research going on, and a lot of this and that was going on then. আমরা এখন যেটা পড়ছি, আমার মনে পড়ে আজকে থেকে 5 থেকে 10 বছর আগেও I have read articles that নৌকায়, বাংলাদেশে নৌকায় করে গ্রামাঞ্চলে ল্যাপটপের মাধ্যমে বাচ্চাদেরকে ক্লাস কন্ডাক্ট করা হতো, হয় তখন থেকে হয়ে আসছে। গ্রামের এনজিও বিভিন্ন, there are a lot of NGOs, those were conducting, supporting and financing in the schools in the villages, who used to conduct classes online. So for them, those students, they have accepted that they have been backward people, area people হয়েও তারা যদি সেই সুবিধাগুলো তখন নিচ্ছিল। So what happened now? What happened is that COVID-19, যেটা আফরিন আপু বললেন, যেটা মেলভিন ভাই বললেন, যেটা হচ্ছে যে COVID-19 একটা ডিসরাপশনের কারণে আমরা we are not even allowed to handshake, not even allowed to hug each other. আমরা এমন একটা সিচুয়েশনে পড়ে গেছি, আমরা কারোর সাথে কাউকে সামনাসামনি একটা 5 ফিট অথবা 10 ফিট ডিস্টেন্স রেখে আমাদেরকে কথা বলতে হচ্ছে। ইভেন আমরা আমাদের বাচ্চাদেরকে জড়ায় ধরে হাগ করে ওদেরকে কিছু একটু, মানে ওদের সাথে একটু শেয়ার করবো কোনো একটা কিছু, একটু এটাও আমরা করতে পারছি না। আমরা একটু করে কাশতে পারছি না, কাশলে সবাই আমাদের থেকে দূরে সরে যাচ্ছে, যদি আমরা সেটা অফিস এরিয়াতে থাকতাম। যে আই এম জাস্ট টকিং অ্যাবাউট মার্চ, আর্লি মার্চ। সো তখন এই বিষয়গুলো চলছিল, আমি বিভিন্ন জায়গায় দেখছি, ইভেন আমার অফিসে হয়েছে, কেউ একজন স্নিজ করলো সাথে সাথে সরে গেছে সবাই। সো উই ওয়ার লাইক ওকে, হোয়াটস হ্যাপেনিং। সো এই জিনিসগুলো অনেক কিছু আমাদের হচ্ছিল। সো কেন আমরা এটা করছি? এটা করছি যে এটাকে একসেপ্ট করতে হবে, এই বিষয়গুলো এখন আসলেই নর্মাল। বিকজ এটা আগে থেকে ছিল প্র্যাকটিসটা, কোভিড এর কারণে এটা আমাদেরকে অলরেডি এটা এখন প্র্যাকটিস হয়ে গেছে। আমরা অফিসের স্টাফরা আমরা সবাই প্রবাবলি 9 to 9 বলবো না, মানে 9 AM to 9 PM এভাবে চলছে, আরো বেশি চলছে 24 ঘন্টা হয়তো। ইটস নট অ্যাবনর্মাল। আমি আমার বাচ্চার কথা বলতে পারি, প্লে গ্রুপে সে এসে আমাকে বলছে, বাবা এটা স্ক্যান করে দাও, পাঠাতে, ইমেল করতে হবে। শি নোজ হাউ, ছবি তুলতে জানে, ছবি তুলে টিচারকে পাঠাতে জানে। একটা প্লে গ্রুপের স্টুডেন্ট, একটা প্লে গ্রুপের বাচ্চা মেয়ে যদি, কেজির মেয়ে যদি এখন স্ক্যান করে অথবা ছবি তুলে তার টিচারকে কি পাঠাতে হবে হোয়াটসঅ্যাপে, এটা সে যদি শিখে যায় এই কোভিড এর কারণে, তাহলে আমাদের ইউনিভার্সিটি স্টুডেন্টদেরকে তো আরো চিন্তা করতে হবে যে এরা যখন ওই লেভেলে আসবে তারা কোথায় যাচ্ছে। সো বেসিক্যালি কোভিড এই সিচুয়েশনটা আমাদেরকে, আমাদের জেনারেশনকে অনেক এগিয়ে দিচ্ছে আমি মনে করি। অনেক অনেক মন মানসিকতাতে, অ্যাডাপ্টিবিলিটি, অ্যাডাপ্টিং দ্য টেকনোলজি, অ্যাকসেপ্টিং দ্য টেকনোলজি, এখানে অনেক এগিয়ে দিচ্ছে। দেয়ার আর লট অফ অপরচুনিটিস রিলেটিং দ্যাট। একটা স্টুডেন্ট, সে হয়তো ঢাকা ইউনিভার্সিটিতে পড়ছে অথবা ঢাকার একটা কোন একটা বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ে পড়ছে, সে যদি খুলনার ছাত্র হয় অথবা সে যদি অন্য একটা রিমোট এরিয়ার ছাত্র হয়, সে যদি তার বাসা থেকে যদি অনলাইন ক্লাসগুলো করে এবং যখন পরীক্ষা দিতে আসতে হবে সে যদি ঢাকায় এসে যদি পরীক্ষাগুলো দিয়ে যায়, তাকে তাহলে ঢাকায় এসে থাকার খরচ, খাওয়ার খরচ, তার কত কিছুই সেভ হচ্ছে। অনেক কিছুতেই অনেক কিছু চেঞ্জেস আসছে। আমি যাদের সাথে কথা বলেছি, সেটা স্ট্যান্ডার্ড চার্টার্ড হোক, সেটা বিভিন্ন মাল্টিন্যাশনাল হোক, সেটা নেসলে হোক, আমি বিভিন্ন ব্রিটিশ আমেরিকান টোব্যাকো হোক, অনেকজনের সাথে কথা বলি বিভিন্ন আমাদের প্রফেশনের কারণে। সো আমি যখনই ফোন করি তারা আসলে বিজি, অফিসে বিজি, তারা তাদের কাজ করছে। সো অনেকগুলা ভালো দিক আছে, অনেকগুলা বিষয় আছে যেগুলোকে হয়তো আমরা ভবিষ্যতে আমাদের স্ট্রিমলাইন করতে হবে। হয়তো এখন 9টা 5টা অফিসের বদলে এখন হয়তো আমাদের উই হ্যাভ 14 hours, 15 hours, 16 hours offices. Probably right now আমাদের মোবাইলটা সারাক্ষণ বাস করতে থাকে যখন আমরা ঘুমাই তখনও। সো কিছু পলিসিস আছে যেগুলো হয়তো সামনে আমরা আজকে আমরা হয়তো কিছুটা কথা বলতে পারবো সেগুলো নিয়ে, যে আসলে কি করা উচিত, কিছুটা তো স্ট্রিমলাইন করতে হবে, সেই জায়গাটা নিয়ে কথা বলা উচিত। বাট সবাইকে একটা অ্যাকসেপ্টেন্সে আসতে হবে যে এটাই বর্তমান, এবং বর্তমানটাকে অ্যাকসেপ্ট করতে হবে। এখানে মানে আমি বলবো না এটা অ্যাবনর্মাল, যেটা হচ্ছে সেটাই নর্মাল, এবং সেটাকে একসেপ্ট করার মন মানসিকতাটা আমাদেরকে নিতে হবে। আমরা অনেকে এটাতে রেজিস্ট শো করিয়ে বাসায় সবার সমস্যা আছে, সবার সমস্যাটাকে বুঝে আমাদের কাজ করতে হবে। তো সেগুলো নিয়ে কথা বলা আজকে আসলে, তাহলে সবার একটু মানে কিভাবে আমরা নিজেদেরকে আরো অর্গানাইজ করতে পারি, কিভাবে আমরা সামনে এগিয়ে যেতে পারি, কিভাবে বাসায় বসে অনেক অনেক কিছু, অনেক প্রোডাক্টিভিটি, অনেক কিছু করা যায়, সেই বিষয়গুলো নিয়ে আজকে ডিসকাস করা মনে হয়, আমার মনে হয় সেই জন্যই আজকে আমরা এই ওয়েবিনারটা অর্গানাইজ করা। থ্যাংক ইউ।
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we are getting a lot of responses from our audience, and we like that. They are giving us a lot of comments, and yeah, someone is not trusting me. Oh my God, Shah Ahmed, he's my fellow colleague. He's not trusting me that I am wearing a lungi right now. My dear friend, I'll show you later at the end of the session. So stay tuned with us, and you'll find I'm an honest person, and I never tell a lie. Anyway, yes, we want your participation, and we are getting many more questions. We'll give the answers of your questions. I mean, our speakers of today's session will answer your questions. But before that, let us bring something new. We wanted to have a poll, I mean, audience poll. The persons who are here right now, we want to know about your idea about the new normal. So in a while, Mr. Mofazul will come and he will give you a link in the Facebook link. I'm in the stream where you are watching right now. In the link, you will have to give your vote. There will be 5 options about how you are thinking about your new normal life with this COVID-19. And we want to see how prepared you are. Are you fully prepared to face the new normal? Are you in still dilemma about what to do? Or are you thinking that there is nothing new normal? The old normal is the real normal, and we don't need to move forward. Mawazul, but can I invite you to come and open the poll for the audience?
Thank you, sir. I actually posted already.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I think you can go to the live comments and see there are a lot of comments there,
Yeah,
so we
yeah.
can reply on there from there.
Yeah, we'll take their questions a bit later. First, let us take this discussion to a specific form. Then we'll take the questions of the audience. We'll take all the questions, no problem. So you keep sending questions to us. We'll take your questions. But now let's move to Raunak. She has a specific question for probably Afreen Apu. Raunak, it's over to you.
Thank you, Rokib sir. So, Afreen Apu, I have a couple of questions from you, and then the next questions Rokib sir would ask Melveen Bhaiya. So, the first question to you, Afreen Apu, is how can companies cater a better... Sorry, before I actually start the questions, I have to acknowledge those people who have given the questions to us. They are none other than our faculty members in East Delta University, and I would like to actually take their names and thank them for coming and helping us make this webinar more engaging, more interesting, more conversational, so that they have given us these questions and we can ask you. So I would like to thank them. They are our faculty members from School of Business Administration, Ms. Famida Akhtar, Ms. Tabassum Chaudhary, Mr. Sharul Islam, Mr. Robiul Dawash, Ms. Tasmi Anwar, Mr. Dewan Ashrafi, Mr. Wahid Islam, Ms. Tofatun Nessa Chaudhary, Rokib sir, and myself. All right, now we can move on to the questions. How can companies cater a better work-life balance for their employees? As of now, shifting to a virtual workplace seems like attending emergency meetings and never-ending meetings, and a lot more pressure on employees to prove that they are performing better. Afreen Apu. Afreen Apu, please unmute your mic.
Yeah. So first, I'd like to, draw everybody's attention to the fact that I think organizations are still grappling with handling the emergency situation. We're still going through that, emergency, period where, the first and foremost thing on our mind is ensuring the safety and the security and health of our employees, and I'm sure that's similar for most of the organizations around us. Now, slowly going forward, what is going to happen? Probably the pandemic will ebb, but the fear will remain. The fear is going to haunt us. Okay. Today, it's not so much about whether you are affected or not, whether you are infected or not. It is more that, there is a possibility that you are going to be infected, which is haunting us, which is frightening us. Okay. And it has made us extra cautious. Okay. And hence we are taking all these stringent measures of, you have to work from home. If you're not working from home, if you're out there risking your lives, you have to maintain, the social distancing norms. You can't come within 6 feet of your colleague. You cannot, shake hands. You cannot show any sort of, intimacy. But going forward, as the pandemic ebbs, this fear will not ebb so easily. So what is going to happen is that, organizations are going to relook as to how they want the, cultural behavior to be, implemented within the organization, so as to ensure or give comfort that people are working in a safe and healthy environment. So I foresee, organizations not bringing their people at once. once the lockdown is over. There is going to be a gradual footfall, which is going to, sort of induct people into the new way of, the new organization culture that is going to sort of, unfold from this whole situation. So, like for Reckitt, we can say that, we are not going to bring all our employees back from working from home. We are going to sort of evaluate the workflows of the various functions and the essential workflows of business as usual will be continued. As usual would be asked to come and a certain percentage of employees slowly increase the percentage of employees coming to work. Okay, and I think that would be a sensible thing to do, because if you do not provide that comfort and that confidence level to your employees, their work and the quality of their work is going to get impacted anyways in an adverse manner. So it is very important that you provide that comfort level to them, that the confidence to them, right? And secondly, what is important is that you communicate to them why you are taking such measures. Because what is normal? Normal is when you take something for granted. Okay, and this is going to be a situation we are going to embrace, which is different from the kind of life or kind of socio dynamics that we were used to. That's why we're calling it a new normal, nothing else, right? So it is very important, and I think the onus lies much on the HR fraternity that we take communications in our hand and make it crystal clear to people why is it that we are doing it, where is the win-win situation. Okay, it's not because of for the company's sake, but it is also because we want to ensure mental and healthy well-being for them as well. And that is what is going to sort of be the impetus to come up with new sorts of guidelines and policies as far as work management is concerned.
Okay, Afreen, thank you very much for telling us about work-life balance. But now I'm not going to give you some rest because I'm going to ask you a supplementary question. As you know, an
Sure.
important part of work-life balance, work part and payment, promotions, everything is a matter of concern for many of us. And believe me, many of the people around they are thinking about these issues. So I would like to ask you a specific question. As due to the shift to a virtual workplace and the crisis led by COVID-19, many people have lost their jobs already, and are in the fear that they might be the next, as many companies are freezing their employee promotion and downsizing their employee strength. On the other hand, some companies are increasing their employee salaries even, like Asian Paint. They have increased their salary during this crisis moment. While some companies are giving promotion to their people for keeping their morale high. In your opinion, how should the management help their existing employees to overcome the fear and the anxiety, and instead, rather, how they can encourage them to perform well? What should be the way of dealing with this dilemma? Should they increase the salary? Should they downsize their employee? Should they freeze the promotion? This is a question from the employee side. I mean, we are the sufferer. I mean, the people who are working here and there everywhere. They want to know this. Please tell us from HR perspective.
Okay, that's quite a laundry list, Rakib. I'll try to answer as efficiently as possible. The first and foremost, what I want to draw everybody's attention to, it's not going to be work-life balance, okay? It is how you integrate your work in your daily life outside your office is what is going to be important, okay? As far as HR practices are concerned, in terms of promotions, in terms of career development, in terms of payments and everything, nothing much has changed. Okay, the only change that has happened is the way that we are located. Okay, like in Reckitt, we are still having our mid-year reviews, which is a system that we do middle of the year, where the line managers, they sort of connect with their direct reports, and they sort of go through what has been achieved so far, what has gone right, what has gone wrong, and how can they sort of, do they see any impediments coming up ahead, and if so, how are they going to sort of circumvent them and bring in success. Now, in doing so, this we used to do before, this we are going to do again. The only difference is that this time it's going to be virtual. Yes. Now, being virtual requires certain soft issues to be taken into consideration. Face to face, আমরা যখন কথা বলি, we have the advantage of not only listening to what the person says, but also studying their gestures, their postures, how their body language. That silence itself speaks a lot, and it sort of helps the person to reconsider the way or the message that he or she was about to give. Okay. Now, with this virtual setting, what will be important is the person, the line managers, to adopt a stronger sense of empathy. They have to understand that this is a different situation. This is a different setting. Continue the way that used to. So that empathy has to come into place, forcing the manager to sort of consider, okay, what might be the situation or what might be the impetus for a person to comment or to react in a certain manner. Until and unless that person grows that sense of empathy, it will be very hard to connect. And if you do not connect, you will not be able to communicate with clarity. Okay, there's always going to be a misunderstanding of language. Everybody has their own language. And when I say language, it's not English and Bangla, it's their mode of expression. ওটা তখনই মানুষ বুঝতে পারবে when they are in sync to understand where the person is coming from. এটা গেল প্রথম কথা. Okay, so promotions and everything, I think the tools will remain, and it is going to take place as and when the organization is going to need it. It comes out of need. এতদিন যেটা হয়ে এসছে conventional organization গুলোর জন্য, promotion used to happen on a duration basis and based on the sense of loyalty. Now it would be much more performance driven and driven on a person's ability to collaborate and bring in results. It's no more about individual performance. So that is the other thing that I would like to draw everybody's attention on. Now I'd move into the sense about the fear of losing job, or people who have already lost their job. One should, whoever is in a work situation, whoever is employed, has to have that professional maturity to understand that a company is in business to do profit, to sustain their profit so that they can contribute to the society and create employment. Now, when that gets threatened, obviously they will have to find out ways how to sustain their business operations. Now, কিছু organization, out of fear, or maybe they would know what the best reason is, I will not comment on that, but they had to lay off people. It is never an easy decision to lay off people. Okay. However, multinationals have the advantage of having a set of guidelines, a set of protocols before taking that call, whereas local corporates probably do not enjoy that advantage of having a set of guidelines to go about it on a step-by-step process, so that it does not suddenly negatively impact the employees who are getting impacted or who are getting laid off. But I would strongly suggest organizations, they should review their workflows, they should review their financial statements, identify that lies. Okay, it might be slowly cutting off the good to haves, the nice to haves, and keeping it at a bare minimum, because as Jack Ma, the world experts have already, they have already mentioned it, that 2020 is a year of survival. Jack Ma has already said that if you survive 2020, you're lucky enough. Don't think about profits, don't think about expansions. If you survive 2020, 2021 will be a year that would be probably witnessing growth, and that should be a message to all. Okay, I have yesterday, in fact, I was reading an article. It was I forget, was it Google or was it no, it wasn't Google. It was, I think, I forget, it's one of the tech CEOs, and they had to lay off people, right? And this person was one of the affected, and he said that the CEO, he had sent out letters to everybody, giving them a sense of not redundancy, but a sense of they were an asset, how the company was at a disadvantage having to let them go, and how lucky the company would be who would pick them up. Okay, now what message comes through this, where I was, I'm coming back to empathy again, that even if this becomes a reality, you have to humanize it. Okay, you should not give it, the message should not come as a surprise, as a bolt from the blue. You have to prepare your people for the inevitable that is going to happen, and do it in a manner that it doesn't take a toll on his or her self-esteem. Okay, so yeah, Rakib bhai, if that sort of answers your laundry list. I know I was all over the place talking, but
Yeah.
these I don't think any single person or any single fraternity would have a solid answer to that. We can only hope, and we can recommend what might work, because at the end of the day, everybody is a human being and would like to be acknowledged and appreciated. So keeping that in mind, we should develop our policies, our guidelines, and whatever it is, to make sure that we are not only looking into the interest of the company, but at the same time, we're giving the people the perception that, we are also taking into consideration their well-being and their esteem as well.
Thank you, Afreen Apu. Probably Raunaq has the next question for Melveen Bhaiya, but before that, let me give you a few more announcements. As you know, a audience poll is going on about your preparedness on the new normal with COVID-19, and only around 25 participants have already given their vote. I would like to request the other people, please make sure you have your right. I mean, you have expressed your right of voting. So please vote whether you are prepared with this, and then we'll show you the results, how the people here are prepared about the new normal. There are 5 options. You can press whichever you feel best for you. I mean, whether you are fully prepared or you are not, or you are thinking that it is not a matter of preparedness. Anyway, since there are a lot of questions from the audience, if Raunaq and Melveen Bhaiya permit, I'll go through a few questions, then you can ask your question. Can I?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
thank you. Okay, so let us keep them engaged with us. The first is Mahfuza Rahman. She has given salam. Okay, fine. Nahian Zawad, Shahamed Ripon already answered. Hassanul Banna sent a love for us. Tanvir Mahmoud, yeah. Shritam Shubho, Azmain Bappi. Okay, what is the topic? I hope you know it by this time. Farhana Abedin, me too, sent 5 heart reaction for the speakers here. So 5 4, 20 from our side for you. New normal. Okay, someone has given answer. The new normal. Is this a class? No, it is not a class. It's a webinar. Sam, thank you. Afreen ma'am. Afreen ma'am, someone has thanked you. Then Shahadat Obi has sent a love. Yeah, we've got a question. Rahmatullah Miraz, he wants to know, what is the Haitian plan about the new normal for the future if the situation continues? Corporate culture is changing. In fact, already changed. Okay, he wants to say. Who is going to take this question? before Ronak asks the regulation question. Probably Melvin Bhaiya, you were silent for a long time. Would you like to give the
Sure,
answer
sure,
to this
sure.
question?
Sure. I think the answer is not necessarily going to give anybody full comfort right at this moment, because like Afreen Apu said, the situation is evolving, and as HR folks, we're all trying to evolve with the situation and try and take decisions, or put in policies or put in processes in place that is best suited for our organization or for our people. So you know uh, to answer Ramat, it's I think right at this moment, you would see the focus will be on employee safety, security, because that is of primary concern to all management teams at the moment. Because see, we've taken the decision to lock down our companies, lock down our premises, etc., and that's absolutely number one for the safety of our employees. I mean, nothing comes before that. Within that, we have been trying, we have a duty to our clients, and we've also been trying to address that. So what you will see, without being very specific on what is the plan, you would see there will be a balancing act between, serving the clients and the clients' needs, and also at the same time ensuring the health and safety of our employees, because that is going to be the most important, those two aspects. And while doing that, you will see a whole new sort of cultural norm that will evolve, the new normal or whatever you call it. It will evolve with how we can manage serving our clients best, and at the same time making sure our employees are doing well. And doing well just doesn't mean physically doing well. It's also mentally, like Afreen Apu said, because there's a lot of focus on mental well-being. This is a stressful time. We've all been working 10 12 hours a day because of this crisis, which will go, so there's no complaining about that. But a lot of this also requires a lot of focus on the well-being of our colleagues, on how to give them the necessary mental detox that they need at times. So for example, I've been telling my team members, if you're stressed out, just take a day off. We just, I mean, I know you may be sitting at home, but still, just take a day off. You have leave, take a day off, or just detach, or just tell me. Like I did this with my boss a couple of days back. I told her, I'm a little stressed out, so I'm just going to log off now, and I'll come back after iftar. So you need to be adaptable. You need to be flexible with your employees, and I think those are the three things that you will see as overriding theme on everything that HR, that the HR fraternity will be doing. Afreen Apu, maybe you can add.
Yeah, and another thing that I think, Melvin, that we would be seeing besides this, the flexibility that you mentioned comes more from a mindset,
Mm,
mindset perspective. I think to supplement that and to make sure that it happens, I think we're also going to be seeing a lot of, digitization happening in terms of how is it that we can empower our people to access HR on the go, okay, in terms of acquiring NOCs, in terms of acquiring salary certificates, in terms of there would be a lot of platforms would need to be introduced where people unhindered can answer questions without having any sort of fear factor working in them. They can challenge the status quo, because if those are introduced, we would be we would have our hands to a lot of creative solutions from the people as well, because they would be able to voice their discomforts where they are being challenged in their work areas, and HR can coordinate and collaborate with the other functions and come to a plausible solution to it. And that is only possible under the current circumstances if we sort of relook into our systems and automate them accordingly. Probably have a on the go app, probably have a digital platform to communicate, to answer questions anonymously, to giving them the full comfort that yes, their voices are being heard. So that is only the first and foremost thing. Obviously, comes from what Melveen said. That mindset has to be there. That mindset has to be adopted, and to supplement that, to make sure that that mindset is being applied and we're walking the talk, the systems also have to be conducive.
Ronak, should we go for a few more questions from the audience, or should we ask the regulation question from audience? There are a lot of questions from audience side. What do you think?
There are a lot of questions, but I think we
So-
can take one by one. After we address the questions to Melveen here, then again we can come back to a question from the audience.
Okay, then we'll take 2 or 3 questions again, then we'll get back again. Now, so you go on with your question to Melvin there.
Okay, all right. All right, so Melvin here, I have a very good question for you. So the question goes, once the new normal is over and we go back to the office 5 days a week, how should companies help employees to adapt to that change, since many of them have become so comfortable from working from home?
Very interesting question, Ronak. I think I'm very comfortable working from home at the moment, so I'll put in a disclaimer there, right? But I think the answer to that is, this new normal is it's not going to end. The, that's the whole point of calling this the new normal, right? Because like Afreen and I have said in our previous comments, and if we kind of tie it in together, you will see that while we may go back to work, while we may go back to doing a lot of things the way we used to before, physically, right? There will be a big change in how people think and perceive work, right? So as an example, some people think better in English and some people think better in Bangla, right? So you have Afreen and me as examples of that, probably. Okay. What you will need in this changing situation, and as whether we go back to work or whether we are working remotely or we are doing a hybrid of that, right? You will see that the ability to think digitally, right? To visualize workflows, to understand how you can cater to either client needs or your employee needs using a digital platform. Where that data is going to come from, where that data is housed, how those solutions can be given without having to do, without having to have the barriers of, physical presence, right? Those are the things that the new normal will actually, really ingrain in every organization, whichever industry, right? Now, industries like, say, banking, we have to have some physical presence at branches, etc. Industries like manufacturing, where Afreen is, there's a factory, and you can't do that virtually, right? So there will be some sort of normalcy as we were used to before. That will take place. But what will really change is how people think, how management visualizes solution. Like Afreen said, for example, in my organization, Standard Chartered, we've invested a lot in digitizing the HR experience, right? We've invested a lot in, it's just not from an HR perspective, from an IT perspective, from a property perspective. We've invested a lot in making people feel more comfortable being able to work at their, in their own way. And one of those is working from home, right? But that is just one way. What's really going to change in this new normal is the ability to think digital, the ability to serve people's needs digitally, right? Whether it be, again, client needs or employee needs, right? Whether it be just managing workflows, bringing about efficiencies in how fast things get done, how fast you disperse loans, whether you are opening an account online, etc., right? And this will bring about changes not just at the organizational level, this will bring about changes at the government level, right? This will bring about changes at the regulatory level. There are things that need hard copy signatures today. Maybe this will, change, and people will start thinking about having digital solutions for that, right? Like Shafaita said, this has been happening elsewhere, but is going to happen here today too. So again, quickly just coming back to the question, this new normal is not going to be over. It's just that we will have to evolve in the way we think, evolve in the way we visualize the value that we bring to our customers, our colleagues, our students, etc. Right? To make things easier. And a very pertinent example to this is I was working from home 1 day a week in normal situation, even before COVID-19 came about, right? Now I'm working from home 5 days a week. It's not the same because before, when I was working from home on my own, I was, I kind of scheduled my work in a way where I was doing I wasn't doing work that needed a lot of physical interactions, a lot of meetings, etc. Right? So I was doing stuff that I could handle on my own, or either presentations, reports, reviews, etc., which I could control, and that was quite doable, right? Now we're having to do meetings. So say for example, I have headphones on all day because I'm getting out of one, going into another, and that's the case for everyone. Because like I said in the beginning, when we spoke about why this new normal, that connection that you could just walk up and go to somebody and say, Ki abusta, how are you doing today? Nale, I need some help with this. You're having to now see whether he's in a meeting, he's in another scheduled call, drop a WhatsApp note, drop a office LinkedIn message, or drop an email, and then there are so many communication channels. So all of that will need to be consolidated. People will need to start thinking about the digital environment of work, and that is what this new normal will really bring about in terms of change, right? So I was going through some of the questions. Like Obaidul Karim asked, it is pronounced we are heading towards a paperless society where every interaction between man will be done using IT. Do you think COVID-19 may give momentum to it? Of course, COVID-19 is going to give momentum to us becoming more virtual, becoming more digital, right? Working more remotely. And, it is going to happen, and it is happening, right? What we all need to be mindful of is that, when COVID-19 is handled, we have a vaccine, and we're not as scared as we are today to get out and, to carry on with life as it was. We will need to think about, there is value in how we are working today. There are efficiencies that have been achieved in how we are working today. While there are risks and challenges, because it's an unforeseen crisis, this crisis has also given rise to people and organizations finding alternative channels, alternative ways of working. So when this is over, when this pandemic is over, and we go back to work, or a hybrid system, or working remotely 100%, whatever it is, we will need, and everybody will start asking those questions that, okay, if we could do it faster, if we could do it then, why can't we do it now? Standard Chartered has a motto of you know always trying to do everything faster and better, right? We've invested a lot in digital technologies, and that is the question that we are asking each of ourselves in whatever function, that, okay, when things go back to normal, how do we continue this momentum of quick turnaround, of faster adaptation? And everybody has done it, from people who are at the field, from people who are working in our branches to people who are working from home, people who are working in the management team. Everybody has adapted to it in some way or the other. People at different bases, but everybody has. So I think that is, that is what is going to change, and that is what we will need to work on. Afinapu,
Uh,
anything?
Yeah, I'd just like to I'd like to draw attention of Shafayat sir, Rakib sir, and Ronak. I mean, you represent the academia, right? As Melvin has very rightly said that people would have to start thinking digitally. Yeah? And I think it's high time that the academia, they sort of introduce as a part of the curriculum how to instill that sense of understanding, instill that skill within people. Okay, for uh, Melvin has always been a tech geek, okay, and I've always been the think tank. That I mean, that's how we're a dynamic duo when we work together, just reminiscing our old days, huh? And he has this amazing capacity of visualizing digitally the outcome that we were sort of talking about. And I am still as blissfully ignorant as I was those 5-6 years back. But with this situation, like, I'm getting acquainted to sort of these sessions where I have to be tech savvy. Okay, আমার নেট চলছে না, আমার ওয়াইফাই ছাড়া আমার হটস্পট নিতে হবে, কি আমার মাইক্রোসফট টিমস আমি কি কি করতে পারি, হ্যাঁ, how do I connect with my various functions. So it has forced me into that, and at my age it's very hard to unlearn and relearn. Okay, so you are dealing with very tender minds. It will be easier for the academia to instill that skill within them. And I think it's very important that functional skill chole ashe when you put the person with a responsibility, they find out a way of doing it if they have the basic theoretical knowledge about it. But what is hard to learn until and unless you put that person in a rigor is how to think critically, how to analyze, and how to come up with creative solutions. These three are interrelated. And these are the things that are missing in today's curriculum at the university level, is what I feel, at least in Bangladesh. Huh? When I see my sons, uh, with the grace of God, like, he's going through an IB curriculum, okay? Over there, they give much more importance to the practice of critical thinking, okay? They are made to think about situations. They are made to come up with solutions accordingly. And I can actually see how creativity is being, nurtured by them due to that very fact that they're forced into critically analyzing a situation. So that practical based, education, that practical based, discipline is really required at this stage. And if we are to think digitally, we have to teach our students to appreciate the whole digital realm. I hope I didn't extend too much, Mel.
No, I
well,
think I think this also goes. This is also aligned with some of the questions I think we've been getting on the live comments. Like Ananya Nandi has asked the question of higher education is a combination of experience, exposure, and learning. We're very used to this experience, exposure, and education, as we call it, the three E's, right? In this new normal scenario, universities are digitizing, and I think she's, if I summarize, has gone on to ask, some what are the type of experiences and digital platforms that can be provided. So I think while organizations are thinking of reskilling, right, universities play a very key part in getting students thinking in this manner from a very young age. And you will see a lot of partnership between organizations and the professional world in terms of, coming up with new solutions or new programs, etc., that will enhance these skills, because these skills will be very, very necessary for the future. But let me
Well,
not drag this question out.
yeah, as an academic, I would like to share my experience on this note. Yes, there are a lot of questions about the online platform of learning, and as Afreen Apu was talking about, making them understand how to be a critical thinker, as well as to how to adopt the technology for their academic activities for future success. You'll be happy to know that at East Delta University, we are trying our best to make our student technologically acquainted, and you'll be happy to know that the graduate attributes that we have at East Delta University, there are 5 themes of graduate attributes, and one of those is soft skill and critical thinking. So we're trying to impart this to our students, and you'll be happy to know that in almost all the courses, we are trying to incorporate technology. Say, for example, in our business school, we are trying to bring courses like business analytics, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, as well as in our supply chain courses, the instructors are using different softwares and Excels to make them know how to solve real life problem with technology. So we are trying hard to do that. About the online platform of learning, you'll be very happy to know that at East Delta University, though we started it from scratch, so in the last semester, all on a sudden, whole education system. But right now, immediately after the end of spring 2020, in the next semester, summer 2020, we are planning something different, and it will be a real international experience from our side. We would like to give our students an international experience about how to deal on online platform. And you'll be wondering to know that from East Delta University, we are offering our students a gift. We are calling it e-gift, a 30 GB per month internet data, free of cost, of course, for facilitating their online classes in a better way. So we are trying from our side our best. Hopefully, we'll be able to do it all together. But once again, I have requested in other platform, in another day, in a special platform, that the telecom, I think all of you 3 guys worked in telecom earlier. The telecom industries have some responsibilities towards the society. I'm asking you, what do you think, as someone from telecom industry earlier career, are they doing that? I mean, they have some responsibilities. They need to think about the students. I mean, they need to provide cheap cost, or at least, if not possible, free, at least cheap cost data service to the students, especially for the students, so that they can take part in online classes, and the online classes become more effective, because a lot of students are not being able to do that. Just I would like to tell you, today I have got a news that the Thailand government has declared their students of Thailand will get free access to online, free access to data for online classes. So I hope a lot of questions have been answered with this, about how to do with online and what to do with this. But before shifting, before giving the floor again, I'd like to tell one thing. Someone called Mahabubur Rahman Shagor, he has a message for the employers. He's telling, yes, there is a difference between working from home and working in home. So this is the message for the employer. I think employer will get this message. Thank you from my side.
Okay, right. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Rohit sir.
True.
আমি একটু অ্যাড করতে চাই, এখানে একটা কোশ্চেন ছিল মুকেশ কে গুপ্তা।
Yes, I was just going to tell you to add
okay.
something on that question, actually, Shafayat sir.
জি, এখানে একটা প্রশ্ন ছিল, it was from Mr. Mukesh Gupta.
Towards the beginning.
I think so, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's there on the screen.
I got it. Yeah, I got it. Okay. How are education institutions going to cope with in absence of regular normal admissions and fee collections in the new normal? Okay. For us, I cannot talk about a comment on other universities, but for East Delta University, we have conducted online admission this summer successfully. We have conducted an online orientation very much successfully. We have given the guidelines to the students through online orientation. We have distributed our schedules, routine academic calendars, and all the students met with their faculties and advisors online, and they have hopefully they have understood how things are going to be, and the class schedules online class schedules have been distributed also. So we have been very much successful in this matter. And also regarding the fee collection, we have introduced card payment options. So any student can pay either through bank directly if they want to risk it, and but we don't encourage that. But from home, they can pay through any card, any sort of card. It can be a debit card, it can be a credit card, any type of card. You can pay your tuitions, your payments towards the universities, your admission fees. And we have, so far, we have collected 80% of our collections have been collected through those online platforms, through cards. So we have ensured the safety of our students by encouraging them to stay home, at the same time doing what they have to do. And we have ensured the support from the university that they can pay from their home. This is one thing. Another thing I just want to add in the end, someone, Mr. Redwan Shafat sir, it is private education institution also need to consider the cost issue of student, because students are not involved physically with institute. I personally cannot comment on that. Okay, but I can give you an idea. That is, as Dr. Rokib also said, is the university providing a gift to the students of a 30 GB internet connection. That's a great thing. It's an idea, digital divide, we call it. So it's an idea generated from our CIO's office, Chief Innovation Officer, Mr. Saidal Noman, our trustee vice chairman also. So he thought students have been going through a lot of things. So there is a cost associated with it, but we are not taking it from the students. So there is also a technological cost. All of the setup, all of these resources that we are giving it to you, there's a technological cost associated with it. So there are a lot of things happening from the university, even though the university is closed. You may think that things you are sitting there and we are don't think in that way. And I personally comment on financial issues, because this is not about the financial discussions here. I just can give you the understanding that the university is trying to do whatever it can from its side, and it will try to help you whatever it can. You have a lot of options, you have a lot of installments, and nobody's pushing anybody, and there is no penalty fees, nothing like that. Everything has been waived. So I think this is that settles there. um, Again, having said that, I want to just add one more thing that Dr. Rokib said. Eastern University has been from the since the beginning, since the even before the COVID-19, we were engaged in conducting online classes since 2010. Like part of the every semester, at least 6 hours of classes were recorded or provided online to the students to make them accustomed with this platform. So we were kind of more ready, the readiness towards this kind of platform, and using online classes and ensuring the faculties and the students to to get accustomed with this kind of things platform. We were ready, and our students were more or less ready. And we have like few projects going on. We could not implement it, but it started before the COVID-19. One is like cashless university. We want to make the university cashless. It's another initiative from our CIO's office. Another is like we want to make the university more paperless as much as possible. So there are a few questions are regarding that. Hope this answers satisfies them.
Yeah, well, by cashless, don't think that you don't need to pay anything.
Right. It means you have
Okay,
to
just
pay by
kidding, just
card.
kidding.
It means, yeah, no, you are right. You are rightly pointed. It means that you have to pay by card, or maybe you can load your ID and with the amount, and then you can use it, use your ID card or your debit card or credit card throughout the campus, and you don't have to take out cash. So we don't want that. So I think
So digital payment. I mean, you mean digital
digital
payment?
payment system, even in the buses that we are providing free, they have to like punch it. We are trying to do that they have to punch it, that to understand that these are our students who are getting in. So we are, the whole concept of the university is we are trying to make it digital. The project was started before the COVID-19, but we will now think more aggressively about it.
Thank you. We hope we will be digital soon. By the way, we had a audience poll about
Nice.
their preparedness, readiness for facing the new normal with COVID-19. And Mr. Mufazzal probably has given the link several times, and we have got quite a good number of people's participation. Oh my God! You can see. Can you see? The people are ready, fully ready. It seems out of what's the total number? 74. 74 people participated, and we can see 35 of them are fully ready. Oh my God. Uh, Speakers, do you have any comment on this? They are fully ready, 35. It means around 50% people are ready for this. It means the nation has a very bright future, sure. The speakers, do you have anything about any comment about this?
I think this reflects what we have been experiencing in our organizations, right? More or less 50% feel comfortable, feel like they can, because it's not using technologies or doing things that are vastly different, or you can't do, and it's something that you suddenly have to. It's just about working or finding a balance between them better. So this to me, this is around 48% saying they're fully ready, and then a good percentage saying they're a little skeptical, 11 feeling they're unprepared, and then there are 2 or 3 who feel it's not going to work or don't get it yet. But I think this looks exactly like how it would look in most of our organizations, where a good percentage has, probably because of the type of role, etc., gone ahead and adapted well. There are some roles which are very difficult to conduct in this kind of situation, like for example our sales colleagues, right, who are actually going out in the field, etc. Okay, I can hear myself. All right. So yeah, I think for them, being skeptical would make sense, because it would be difficult for them to actually be able to function effectively and fully in this situation. So this, to me, looks normal, affinable. What do you feel?
I would completely concur with your comment, Melvin. This is actually, in fact, it's optimistic. It's optimistic that within any given population, most of the people are already embracing it, right? Now, I know this is the new normal for me, because I'll have to take leave right now as I have another meeting. Okay. So I hope in the spirit of the new normal, you would sort of, let me say goodbye. A big thank you to East Delta University for inviting me, and it was a great catch up with some of my very favorite people, Ronak, Melveen. I would like to sort of thank Shafayat and Rakib for feeling that we are equipped enough to shed some light upon this topic. Thank you so much, and I'm really, really sorry that I'm having to, sort of, disconnect myself. But it's been a great, great discussion. Thank you very much. Thank you, audience, for bearing with us. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Afreen.
Yeah,
Thank
great.
you so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us and
It's
sharing so much
always a pleasure.
and sharing
Seems
such
like you put me on the
insightful
spot.
information.
Well, I would like to request the audience, please stay tuned with us. Melvin Bhai is still with us, and will be giving your questions answered. So please wait for a while. And we are getting some important questions, especially from the young guys. I mean, they want to know what skill sets they require after the COVID-19 pandemic. So we'll be with you soon. So yeah, probably Afreen Apu left. Thank you very much for being with us. Let us take the questions again. What do you think, Raunak? Instead of asking question from our side, we can take the question from the audience because they want to ask a lot of questions. And interesting enough, a lot of questions are exactly same we're planning to ask. So
Yes.
rather let us
This is
acknowledge them.
this is
Yeah,
quite amazing that we
yeah,
think in the same wavelength.
that's great. Yes,
I
exactly.
think some
We're
of the
all
questions,
experiencing this similarly, so the
right?
questions are
Yeah,
similar.
Like
yes.
there are some of the questions that we cannot answer. We should not, like Osman Goni Bappi. We can attend our class via online, but how to do the practical class, which is most essential for engineering. We are not. This is a webinar for the general for everyone in Bangladesh and Chittagong and Dhaka, everywhere in Bangladesh. So I cannot comment on that. We cannot. But please do talk to your faculties, relevant faculties, and talk to your advisors. Probably they can answer this. That's it.
Well, I'm pronouncing some name who have asked the question. So all of your questions will be asked all together to Melvin Bhaya. I'll do that. But I'm acknowledging your participation, the person who has given the questions. So the questions, let us see the questions. Then we'll ask the questions all together to Melvin Bhaya. Probably he'll be able to answer all together.
Training should be
Okay,
provided by
let us come from the what is the last question we have answered? Probably the question of uh, what is the last question we answered? Probably the question of Miss Anuna Nondi. Melvin Well answered the last question of Miss Anuna
Yes.
Nondi. Yes. Then Kaushik Sen Gupta, he has asked about the training required. We'll ask a question to Melvin Bhaiya later on. Let us take the question first all together. Nokib Haider, the government will probably have no choice but to ease lockdown soon. Okay, he's talking about lockdown. Let us talk about it later. If any employee is infected by the full scale health insurance for all of their employees, it is a critical question
So
to us.
Shaharat
Yes.
Farsim, sorry, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Yeah.
Um,
Let me just answer this quickly because it's right
Yeah.
at the top
yes,
of my
please.
mind. So to answer Sharat's question, I think especially in banking, if you look at it, Bangladesh Bank themselves have been very active, right? We have been getting a lot of guidance from them, every bank, and they have given very specific guidelines around employee well-being, etc., which is also in our case in banking very specific when it comes to health insurance. Now we already have a very strong tie-up at Standard Chartered with our health insurance provider, but which covers the requirements. But additionally, we have also taken initiatives as guided by the central bank. So, the regulators are also getting in on this, and there will be coverage, there will be support for employees who unfortunately get infected while performing their duties. That I think is something that most employees should take comfort in, because I think as an organization we are all thinking of this. We're all, I mean, like I said in the very beginning, our one of our key concerns is the health and safety matters of our colleagues, and it's just not ours as an organization, but our regulators, the government bodies who regulate us, are also thinking that way. So I think this is a little bit of an uncontrollable situation because we don't have a vaccine. We don't know exactly how the spread is, propagating. We don't have the right kind of control mechanisms yet, but the right kind of effort is there amongst all organizations. If I can speak for most organizations, definitely from Standard Chartered, we have been putting in a lot of time and effort into making sure that everything we do, and it's just not from HR, from our property team, from our IT team, our country management team sits every day. So I think this is the case for most organizations, and you will see that one of the primary concerns and one of the primary areas where HR will be taking initiatives, and the regulators are also very active, is with regard to the health and safety of employees, whether it be prevention or in case there is an unfortunate infection, then how do we address that and how do we support them and their families, right? So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, Melvin Bhai, I would like to ask two questions from the audience, which two would cover almost 60 to 70% of their queries. Then I would hand over it to Rana. The first one is from my side on behalf of the audience is that, how to deal with the employees' resistance to digitization of the workplace, especially the older workforce who are technologically challenged. This is the first question, how to deal with the technologically challenged people as they are not there to cope with the new normal of online activities. The second question, due to digitization of work, it seems like the skills we thought we would need in 2025 or 2030, somewhere there, we might need these special technology to be acquainted with soon, probably in 2021 or 2022. In your opinion, what are the skill sets that are required for the upcoming days, especially for those who have just recently completed their graduation and who want to enter into the job market? They want to know what skill sets do they require to win the job market next, as well as please note that the technologically challenged people, how to deal with them. Thank you.
Okay. um, so thank you. This is I think a question that a lot of people ask, and a lot of people wonder about being technologically challenged, etc. I feel I don't feel that our more senior colleagues are technologically challenged. Because they use technology. We all use technology on a day-to-day basis. We're using different apps. We're using different sort of systems. We're, all connecting over different mediums, etc. So it's not a very big concern in terms of people being technologically challenged, because in today's day and age, I think everybody has a certain amount of tech literacy or comfort with using technology. So that is not necessarily a problem. What is the challenge is getting people out of doing things out of their usual routine, right? And that is the case not just for the more senior colleagues. It's also the case for junior colleagues, right? I think what we really need to do is different people will adapt at different paces. So as HR, we will need to work with them to bring them up to the standard that we require, or to the level that we require at a similar time. So you will see that if you go on any organization's LinkedIn page, and just go through a couple of weeks of posts, you will see that everybody is talking about learning, bringing in technology enabled learning platforms, reskilling. They're having competitions. People are putting up certificates, etc. So I think one of the key areas is to invest in learning, to promote learning of new skills, right? Not everybody will become one of those programmers, or one of those really solid technology implementation people, right? But most of us will need to use technology, and we're all like we keep telling people, whenever we implement a new system and people say it's difficult, etc., we always ask the same question. I think it's become standard that when there is a Facebook update, do you need a guideline? Do you need a detailed manual that says, okay, and now instead of the like button being on top, it's going to be at the bottom, or for Apple it's at the bottom, for Android it's at the top, etc.? We don't do that, right? People adapt, and people will adapt. right? Very simple non-work example. My mom does a lot of her work on, she's active on YouTube. She's looking for recipes on Pinterest. She's looking for ways of decorating her house that way, and she's gotten comfortable with it, right? We didn't have to teach her. So similarly, I don't think we have to teach our colleagues a lot about how to use technology in their day-to-day lives, because they will have an environment where they will get used to it soon. I think it's about bringing in that comfort that this change needs to happen, and giving them the comfort that it won't take away anything from them. The whole idea of resistance to change, especially when it comes to technology, is from the sense of losing control of something that an individual had control on in a non-technology environment, right? So we need to bring that comfort. We need to constantly talk to them, communicate with them, etc. And this also ties in with the next question that you asked, sir, about the skills, right? I think, if you ask me from HR perspective, I think the skills that will really change, and will really come into focus. The first one is not machine learning or understanding chatbots or how to configure some sort of technology. The first and the foremost skill set that will come in is communication, because it's very, like Afreen said in towards the beginning of this session. You see someone and you have informal communication. You understand what they're trying to say without them having to say it at times, right? That's not going to be there in in this sort of scenario. So the first skill set I think everybody needs to work on is communication. Whether it and communication is a vast field. It's just not whether you can talk. It's about whether you can write properly, whether you can present properly, whether you can keep things concise, whether you're thinking in a structured manner and being able to present in a structured manner. So those things will become important. The second skill set will be to be emotionally attuned to people, whether it be your colleagues, whether it be your seniors, whether it be your juniors, whether it be students, whether it be clients, right? Understanding them and being able to address those things, because often, and that's not a new skill set. That's a skill set that was there even before. But today, with a digital world, you won't get as many chances. People will come to say us to one of our branches, right? And they're already at our branch. So at times, if there are delays, etc., they might wait and not necessarily go to another branch, right? I'll give you an example. When I was buying these headsets, I was looking at 4 websites. The one that answered me first was the one I bought it from, because the product is the same, right? I wasn't necessarily looking for the one in Bonani or Gulshan, where I live. So I got it from a vendor in Uttara, and they gave me really great service. So, those are the reasons. Emotional attunement to clients, customers, employees, or students is very important. Then you will, of course, have skill sets like design thinking, structured thinking, understanding data, understanding how digital workflows, impact decision making, etc. And all of that will come in as new skills that people will need to work on. So, um, for students who are listening to this, concentrate on communication. Try and see how you can get better. Concentrate on trying to be more structured in the way you think and how you communicate, understanding your audience, right? And then work on skill sets like, whether it be, digital, whether it be digital platforms, whether it be, just different sorts of services, digital services, and how those work, how IoT works, how blockchain works, etc. So that, besides, and this is not that you stop looking at the skill sets that you're looking at now, but this is while you're developing and going through the normal development phase and those usual skills, right? You also augment your how do I say, treasure chest of skills with these skills. But these are to me some of the things that will be very important going forward, right? Um, yeah, so that's Prashanto Bhomik also asked about skills. So yeah, I guess that answers his question. Right. There is one question here that was specifically addressed to me. And if you guys don't mind, I'll just quickly answer that. This was asked by
Yes,
Nisha
please.
Fatima. So I know Nisha very well. She's a colleague of ours in the HR fraternity. She talked about the challenges in onboarding people and in this situation, because they don't get to see you, they don't get to interact, don't get to understand the culture, but you're just onboarding them virtually. In Bangladesh, Sanachar globally, we've kept one of the first decisions we took was we will onboard the people that we've offered, and we will keep that commitment despite what happens with this COVID-19 situations. And we've done that. We've had four onboardings already in the last 2 months, and we've done it virtually. And what's interesting is, yes, you don't get to see them, they don't get to come to the office, experience that office culture, but you can also give them that experience or a part of that experience virtually. So we've had Blue Jeans meetings with them. They have been able to see us. We've had virtual face-to-face communications with them when we onboarded them. We've taken them through presentations on the organizations. We've used Menti. So I think for professionals or for everybody, being able to augment your way of working with tools is very important in today's day and age. Like, I use a lot of Menti to engage the audiences that I'm doing meetings with, whether it be within the HR team, whether it be in other teams, or with new joiners. So we had very interesting quizzes. There was a leaderboard, and through every question, when we were trying to tell them what the organization is and who does what, we took them through a sequence of questions, and then that led to a leaderboard, etc. And that is what makes things interesting. So answering Nisha's question, I think you may not have the physical space, but you can still use tools and technology to give the same sort of feeling, where people feel like they are part of the organization. We had WhatsApp groups that people were brought into before they joined, so they started to get know each other. We've done all sorts of communications over that. We've introduced new team members from the HR learning team who've taken over from us for their learning on that. And we've also connected line managers in a similar fashion, where they've had a WhatsApp face-to-face discussion. And everybody's busy, right? Even in a normal situation, when I introduce somebody to the line manager, after some time the line manager has to get back to work, right? So it's kind of similar. We've been experimenting with a lot of tools for learning. We've been using SMSs, WhatsApp, email, our proprietary platforms that we use that are non-proprietary to us, etc. So you will have to be, adaptive in this situation, and make do with the best of all the technology you have to engage people. All right. So that's answering Nisha's question. Rakib sir, I give it back to you. I think.
I think
Okay,
Ronak
so
has a question for you, and probably we're running out of time. It's almost
Yes.
1 hour and 40 minutes. So yeah, please, Ronak, go with your questions.
So before we end, I think we'll take a final question from Melveen Bhaiya. So we had actually thought of asking you a question, which says the present crisis will lead to a new wave of entrepreneurs. What are the new areas that the potential entrepreneurs can explore? Similarly, from the audience, Smritom S. Shuvro has also mentioned along the same lines that please suggest something about what should the people do to prepare themselves for the future who will be discharged from their duties due to the COVID-19 situation. So would you tell us something about the areas that entrepreneurs would be exploring in the coming future? Yeah.
So, so I think what we will see, right? I'm definitely not an expert in terms of entrepreneurship, etc. But I think what we will see for the immediate future is a wave of startups or a wave of entrepreneurs who invest their time and effort in digitizing the value chain. So it's not necessarily innovating new products or services, right? But currently, what we have in the country, currently the products and services that we consume, there will be a huge wave of different organizations trying to digitize that. And an example of that is, for example, today, if you go into Shahoj or if you go into Food Panda or any of them, they were very fast in bringing these grocery stores on board, right? And that is the sort of area where I think, because see, with entrepreneurship, right, with entrepreneurs, it's a risk, right? Whatever you do is a risk, because you will have to, if it's a absolutely brand new product, you will have to be very careful as to ensuring that you know exactly what the customer wants. And most startups don't always succeed, but the ones that succeed do very well, right? So I think a balanced approach that entrepreneurs might take is investing in their time and effort in finding ways to digitize the existing value chain. So that'll be phase one. And then phase two, you would see a lot of entrepreneurs maybe coming into logistics, payment solutions, funding, right? Because you know with this, you might see a huge change in how people fund. You might not go to a bank because of or to a established organization. You might think of crowdsourcing or crowdfunding, as they call it, right? So a lot of those concepts will probably come in, and at a rural level, you might see a lot of cooperatives grow. And the reason why this sticks in my head is because I was actually having this discussion with a friend of mine, and we were, contemplating that how, for example, one person in a village today may not have the funds to buy a tractor, for example, right, or buy a harvesting machine, right? Because individually he or she may not be able to afford it. But those are things that will become necessary, because in this situation you might need better yields, you might need to manage existing value chains in a better way. So you might see a couple of people getting together to invest in a tractor that will help all of them, and that also becomes a business for them, right? So there might be a lot of cooperatives, etc., that will start coming up at the rural level, right? And that's not necessarily digital, but you will see people being innovative and different in the way they think of addressing the challenges that they have today. So to me, when it comes to entrepreneurs, I think that is the wave that we will probably see. But I think Allah knows best.
Okay, perfectly said. Thank you so much, Melveen Bhaiya. So before we end, our vice chairman, sir, he wasn't able to attend this session, right? So he has a few words to share, and he sent us his short speech. So would any of you like to share it, Rokib sir or Shafqat sir?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay.
It's very
Okay.
unfortunate that he could not attend today. There are some very unavoidable circumstances. For that reason, he could not attend. But he sent a message to all of you. It's from the educational point of view. He said, I really can't exactly tell at this moment how the new normal, or in other words, the future will look like for the new universities, for the universities in Bangladesh. But I do know what I want it to look like when the pandemic gradually subsides. I believe a best of both worlds, a blended learning, online and face-to-face instruction approach would provide students with new opportunities for learning and empower educators with new methods to teach, and this way we can ensure that students ultimately benefit from a more effective learning experience. I think he's absolutely right. When the pandemic subsides, even Afreen Apu also said in the beginning that from the HS perspective also, সবাই বাসায় বসে থাকবে সেটা না. So there are certain people who will be coming and going. So a blended structure would fit more to the society, so that actors for if 40 hours of maybe in a semester 40 hours of lecture, maybe 20 hours can be given physically and 20 hours maybe online, and also the practical classes can be taken in the campus. Having said all this, because it's in the end, I just want to go back to the entrepreneur thing. I just want to inform everyone that Eastdale University has started a new section. It's called EDU Foundry. It's to promote the startup businesses, and I would urge and request also Melveen Bhai to somehow give us time, be an advisor with us, to give time, so advises us to time so that we can improve more. So Ms. Ronok ma'am will lead the team at EDU Foundry, and we will hopefully you will be hearing from the EDU Foundry that our initiatives and our competitions that will be coming up in the future.
Okay, thank you so much, Shafayat sir. So with this, we come to the end of our webinar. Thank you so much to our speakers, our lovely speakers, Melveen Bhaiya and Afreen Apu, who have given their valuable time for this webinar. It was long, 2 hours. We've not had such a long webinar.
It was enjoyable. It was
No, we've
enjoyable.
never, it was so engaging. So,
Yeah.
and it was wonderful to see that the questions we had prepared, or the questions we'd got from some of our colleagues and the faculty members at EDU, the same questions were asked by our audience as well. So we are thinking same, all of us are in the same wavelength. It's good to see that. And it's amazing. This has been the longest webinar, and people are actually so engaged and they're enjoying it so much. So it's wonderful to see. Melveen, thank you so much. We hope that we would love it if this was actually physically done, but unfortunately the situation is such that we have to conduct the webinars, on virtual platform. So I would also like to convey a big thanks to our founder, Vice Chairman sir, because this is his brainchild, starting from EDU and even launching this webinar series during this pandemic, that, learning never stops and we have to continue learning. And this is his thinking, and that's why we could launch out so many webinars. This is our 15th one. It's wonderful to see how we've taken this initiative amongst all the universities in Chittagong and many more in, even across the country. And special thanks to our IT team, because initially we were actually, even till the 14th webinar, we were using Google Meet for our webinars, where the layout is nice, but it was not as interactive as this one. You could not see all the speakers in one frame. So I actually called up Mufazzal Bhai at the 11th hour, telling him that, why don't we try something where, all of us are visible? Why don't we go somewhere, choose another platform? And in no time, he bought it and he had it installed for us, and it was all done smoothly. So it's a very collective effort that works in East Delta, from the side of,
Right.
the deans, from the faculties, from the students, from the senior management, Shafayat sir, everyone very collectively, collaboratively works towards this university. And I hope we will keep doing well. And wonderful people like Melveen and Afreen Apu will support us in our initiatives. And you are, you both are such amazing role models, and we want to definitely keep asking you to visit our university and teach us more, unique and wonderful things, so that our students can learn a lot. Thank you so much. And I think with this we can come to an end.
সবাইকে কি ঈদ
Thank you very
মোবারক
much.
বলতে পারি এবার
And Gigi, Eid
ঈদ মোবারক
Mubarak.
সবাইকে
Yeah, thank you very much for being with us. Eid Mubarak in advance.
And
Thank
This
you.
was
very
indeed
much. Eid Mubarak.
Eid Mubarak. This was indeed an Eid special webinar for all of you. Before we end, a long one and a very engaging one indeed. Thank you very
without
much.
any gift and shemai, anything without anything, you are greetings. You are telling us that this is Eid gift.
We could.
Is there any gift from?
we can
You
send
can
you
send a picture of a packet
Exactly.
of shemai
Okay.
and anything else. In fact, you can send the Barjal Arab. It doesn't matter.
Right. Very important to stay home and celebrate Eid virtually. Make
Thank
good
you.
use of the virtual platforms. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay
Bye-bye.
well.
Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much.
bye bye
Bye.
ঈদ মোবারক
Take care. Thank you,
Assalamu
Melveen
alaikum.
bhaiya. Bye.
Thank you
Assalamu alaikum.
very much.